Hello there, welcome to the shed. I'm your man in the shed, NEP. Hope you're all well. So today we are going to do something a bit different. We're going to do top 10s. We're going to do the top 10 most deadly mountains. Can't confirm that these are the most deadly mountains, but these are 10 of the most deadly mountains. One thing we're going to do is, be surprised just how small some of them are to others. Let's be fair. The Himalayas, quite famous for having some pretty big mountains. The biggest mountains in the world are there. I think the top 10 biggest in the world are there. When you compare it to, let's say, Mont Blanc or the smaller mountains of Europe, even though Mont Blanc is Europe's, certainly Western Europe's biggest mountain. I think there might be a bigger one in European Russia, but it's up there as one of the biggest in Europe. But it's actually tiny when you compare it to, say, Mount Everest. So we're going to go through some of them. So, fun fact before we get started. Yep, I've got my script, got my iPad with me. So, in mountaineering, the death zone refers to a certain point where it's hard to get oxygen, and therefore it creates what's known as the death zone, which is about 8,000 meters. 26,000 feet, pretty high. There's less than 356 millibars of atmospheric pressure. The concept was first conceived in 1953 by Eduardo Wyss-Duent, or something like that, and he's a Swiss doctor who called it the lethal zone. All 17 peaks above 8,000 meters in the death zone are located in the Himalayas or the Karakoram of Asia. So we don't really need to worry about them around here. We can go walk up Mount Snowdon, not worrying that we're going to go in the death zone. Many deaths at high altitude mountaineering have been caused by the effects of the lethal death zone, either directly by loss of vital functions or indirectly by wrong decisions made under stress or physical weakness leading to accidents. An extended stay above 8,000 meters without supplementary oxygen will result in deterioration of bodily functions and death. Okay, so let's get started then. Like I say, this is one web page's verdict of the top 10 most deadly mountains in the world. Doesn't necessarily, the number one isn't necessarily the one with the most deaths on, but it's a percentage. So let's be fair, probably the mountain with the most deaths on is probably Mount Everest, because that's the one that most people want to climb. So we're going to start in Europe with Mont Blanc, which is on the French, Swiss and Italian borders, if I believe. I haven't read it through yet. And it's 1,000, it's 15,777 feet. Yep, there you go. Great at maths. The tallest mountain in the Alps has a long history of climbing and climbing accidents. In 1768, the first summit by Jacques Balmat and Michel Paccard was hailed as the start of a modern mountaineering. Mont Blanc is among the most heavily trafficked mountains in the world, with about 20,000 people summiting yearly. Maybe not last year, what with COVID and everything, but all of its routes have hazards of falling rocks and avalanches. During peak season, rescue services have been known to average 12 missions per weekend, and at its highest fatality rate of any mountain in Europe, with estimates of 100 deaths per year. The Atlantic described the reason for the mountain's deadliness as the frequently portrayed of Mont Blanc as a long walk and not a climbing challenge. Yeah, pretty much a climbing challenge to me. Going upstairs to the toilet's a bit of a challenge. Anyway, so the next mountain is, I believe it's the tallest mountain in North America. It's Denali in Alaska at 20,320 feet, the highest peak in North America, like I said. It's also one of the most isolated and prominent in the world. A huge challenge of Denali is the time it takes to climb, with expeditions lasting 2 to 4 weeks. Denali is climbed yearly, but only around half of those who attempt it reach the top. Denali is prone to earthquakes, and a combination of high altitude and extreme latitude also makes the altitude sickness kicks in much faster. At the equator, the peak this size would have about half as much oxygen at the summit than at sea level because of the altitude, and percentage of Denali is far lower. So I don't quite understand what that means, but I guess that means that there's less oxygen there because of the way the world spins. At the equator, the world is a bit fatter, and I don't know how that really works, but hey, there you go. So the next mountain, so this one's a tiny mountain to be fair. This one is Mount Washington in New Hampshire, which is just 6,288 feet. To experience a deadly mountain in North America, look no further than New Hampshire's peak. Rapidly shifting weather, hurricane force winds, and summer ice pellets scouring this slope have claimed more than 100 lives. It's a tiny mountain, so I don't really understand. Obviously, it's all to do with the weather. Temperature at the peak can descend to minus 50 Fahrenheit. In fact, the strongest wind ever measured on Earth was recorded on this peak, a gale of 231 miles an hour. So it's down to the weather, not down to the mountain, really. Why the hell would you want to climb that one then? So next we're going to go to, oh, it's a good one. So apologise for the pronunciation on this one. This one, by the way, I am going to attempt to edit in a few of these mountains so you can actually see what I'm talking about, because one of the things with my lovable channel is the no tech means that I don't add pictures in. I'm going to try to with this one. Can't guarantee it's going to work, but there you go. So this one, number 7, is the Sula Grande Hanuhash range of Peruvian Andes. So this one is 20,814 feet. I'm sure the pronunciation there was fluent Spanish, so, you know, I don't think we need to worry about me not getting that one right. I'm sure you've all got it. I would repeat it, but, you know, I don't want to show off. Anyway, in 1982, a duo of Joe Simpson and Simon Yates, whose journey was chronicled in the book and film Touching the Void, attempted the western face of the Sula Grande. It was a sheer vertical ascent that had never been completed. Sula Grande is an imposing mountain in the Andes with sheer south and west faces. Simpson and Yates made it to the summit, but Simpson fell during the descent, breaking his leg. Then Yates, lowering the injured Simpson down by rope, lost sight of him over a cliff. After an hour passed with his position slipping away and Simpson unable to secure himself, Yates cut the rope. Incredibly, Simpson survived the 100-foot fall to the crevice. Over the next 3 days, he subsided on mountain snow and hopped for 5 miles back to camp. He arrived shortly before Yates, who assumed Simpson had perished was due to depart home. Wow, imagine that. Imagine if he had gone home. I guess he would have died where his base was. Who knows? Anyway, number 6. Bit of a famous one, this one. This one is the tallest mountain in the world. Mount Everest on the Nepal-China border. 29,029 feet. With its marquee status, it would be easy to assume that Mount Everest is the deadliest mountain of them all. But pound for pound, Mount Everest claims a fairly small percentage of climbers, considering the number of attempts every year. Since 2000, it has seen 1.4 facilities for every 100 summits. In its history, it has had more than 7,500 recorded summits. Basically, it's the most expensive graveyard in the world, because you've got to pay a hell of a lot of money to climb Mount Everest. And that's basically, for a lot of people, it's that final resting place, because if you're up a certain height, you don't have the facility to get them down off that mountain. And let's be fair, helicopters can't get up that high, I wouldn't have thought. So now we're going to go back to a lot smaller mountain. In fact, it's 13,000 feet smaller. The Matterhorn in Switzerland, Italy border. 14,691 feet. With its first ascent in 1865, the Matterhorn has since gained in popularity and development. Easy access to high points on the mountain lead to serious dangers of unexperienced climbers on over-trafficked routes. These days, the principal danger on the Matterhorn is its popularity, with overeager tourists seeing loose rocks into the head of fellow climbers below. Look out when you're climbing up these mountains, won't you, people? Storms are also common during afternoon and summit sessions. This mountain sees an average of about 12 deaths per year, with more than 500 deaths since its first ascent. So, careful, be careful of what comes down off the mountain. Don't forget to look up. So next we're going to go for another bleeding high mountain, the Kangchenjunga. I'm sure I pronounced that one right as well. This one is in the India-Nepal border, 28,169 feet. In 1999, the new James Bond novel found a super spy trekking up Kanja, whatever the name of the mountain is. I'll put this one. I'm going to certainly try and put the names with these mountains as well. I'll let you guess, see if you can name them probably better than me. It's not going to be hard. Anyway, dramatic ridges. Bond may have stopped to admire the gorgeous view, but as our hero knows well, looks can be deceiving. Avalanches and bitter cold have made this one of the most deadly mountains in the world. Kangchenjunga is the third tallest mountain in the world, with more than 200 summits and a 20% fatality rate, according to figures from 2010. So yeah, pretty deadly. 1 in 5, you ain't making it back. So imagine that, you've got your family, and there's 5 of you. One of you ain't coming home if you go on this mountain. And number 3, it's K2, the second largest mountain in the world at 28,251 feet. So it's literally the third is less than 100 feet smaller. But to be fair, I've heard of K2, I've heard of Everest. I'd never heard of the other one, so I'm not even going to try and pronounce it again. I've done it 3 times and every time was probably wrong. Anyway, the second highest mountain in the world. This peak has a grim reputation, especially when it comes to female climbers. The first woman to reach the summit was the legendary Polish climber, Wanda Rutkiewicz, who got to the top in June 1986. Over the next 18 years, all 5 female climbers who summited this peak were killed. 3 died during the descent down K2 and 2 others on nearby mountains. Rutkiewicz also perished close to the, not this mountain again, close by on the Kangchenjunga in 1992. The curse was finally broken in 2004 by Edrun Basban, a 31-year-old Spanish mountaineer who remains alive to this day. Wow. She was when I printed this out. Whether she still is, I don't know. In 2017, Vanessa O'Brien became the first American woman to summit K2. The remoteness and long approach of K2 makes expeditions extremely resource intense and lengthy. It's known for bad weather and avalanches, claiming the lives of nearly 10% of those who attempt it. So yeah, K2 is pretty deadly. I guess the thing is, if you're going to climb one of these mountains, you might as well climb the biggest, because when we look at, let's go back to Everest. Where are we? It's not a lot smaller. K2, we're looking at what? We're looking at less than 1,000 feet. So it's still pretty high when it comes to climbing up mountains. I know 1,000 feet is a hell of a distance when you're getting to those sort of heights. So next we're going to go to Nanga Parbat in Gillette, Baltistan, Pakistan, sort of area. 26,657 feet, known affectionately as Killer Mountain. Why wouldn't it be? This craggly monster in Pakistan is an enormous ridge of rock and ice. Nanga Parbat is the 9th highest in the world and its southern side is what many call the tallest mountain face on the planet. The Rubel face rises 15,090 feet above its base. The peak was the subject of German interest in the 1930s when only Britain had access to Mount Everest. German climbers saw Killer Mountain as the highest mountain reasonably scalable by climbers at the time. But that doesn't mean it was easy. Nanga Parbat claims 31 lives before it was conquered by Austrian Hermann Buchholz in 1953. And then at number 1, it's another good named mountain. This one is at number 1, the Annapurna in central Nepal. Obviously, pronunciation there was spot on. Obviously, I don't get any pronunciation. You know, some people might think, oh, you know what? Let's find out what this mountain is properly called and we'll call it by that. Nah, let's just make this up as we go along. Anyway, it's 26,545 feet. On this mountain, the 10th highest in the world, 191 climbers have summited the avalanche-prone peaks. About 63 have died climbing, making Annapurna fatality rate of 33%, the highest among 8,000-meter high mountains. Well, Annapurna was the first 800-meter peak to be climbed. It remains a challenge and an attraction. The region surrounding Annapurna is popular for hiking and was the site of what many call Nepal's worst ever trekking disaster. In 2014, a snowstorm struck, causing avalanches and the death of 43 people, among 6 foot of snowfall in 12 hours, and more than 500 people needed rescuing. Anyway, so there you are. Like I say, I will attempt to edit a few of these pictures in. Don't know how successful that is going to be, but I will do my best. The good thing with this, to be fair, is apart from Everest, most of us don't really know what these mountains look like, so I could put any mountain up there and I could put any name down there, but I am going to go with the pictures on my iPad. So there you go, that's the picture of Annapurna in central Nepal, Nanga Parbat in Pakistan, K2, Changajenga, yeah, that one in India, Nepal. Then we got the Matterhorn. Then we got Everest. I think we know what Everest looks like. Then there's this one in the Andes. Mount Washington, which is basically a big hill. Denali in Alaska. Mount Blanc itself. So there you go. At least we got some of the pictures on there. Like I say, I will try and edit these in so it becomes a little bit more, rather than some random idiot in a shed talking rubbish. You've actually got a few pictures to go with it. Anyway, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Currently waiting for me exhaust to be fit to my van. Hopefully that'll be soon and I'll get a phone call. Surprised it didn't happen during the video because that's normally what happens, isn't it? Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, people, and see ya, pals.